Afternoon, I'm Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times on Monday, August the 7th. It seems like all the news in Arkansas today is coming from the Arkansas chapter of the American Civil Liberties Union. It's a good day for the Bill of Rights and the First Amendment particularly. The ACLU has filed paperwork in two different cases about state laws passed in 2017, both of which they say fall short of meeting constitutional standards. One is an effort to clean up the only state in the country law that makes a crime out of failing to pay your rent to a landlord. The legislature tried to fix the law because of some adverse court rulings. The ACLU says they didn't go far enough, that they're still essentially having a debtor's prison and depriving people of due process by subjecting them to a criminal procedure when they don't pay their rent. They don't get a chance to offer a defense on why the rent wasn't paid, for example, for inhabitable residences. The other big story today is the ACL filed a brand new suit about a new state law just passed this year that is meant to stop begging, panhandling. They say that a previous law was struck down in court. They tried to make it right this time by saying, well, you can't solicit money in an aggressive and threatening manner, whatever that might be. The ACLU says the law is still far too broad. It needs to be struck down on First Amendment grounds. It's not a crime to ask somebody for money in this country. People do it all the time, in fact. And what is aggressive or threatening? That's a hard call to make. There are other things to be done. The ACLU has also written a letter to Governor Asa Hutchinson and Attorney General Leslie Rutledge asking for copies of communications between their offices and the federal government on trying to end the deferred action against children of immigrants in the United States. This was the Obama-era policy that provided some protection to people who come to the country as children. Attorney General Rutledge, particularly, and the governor want this policy ended. Jeff Sessions, the Attorney General, is on their side. The ACLU wants to know what they've said to each other about this. There's a pending lawsuit by states like Arkansas that think we ought to send all these immigrants home no matter how good as citizens they've been. So the ACL is working on that too. They're also keeping a close eye on special elections this week, where the new voter ID law is being used for the first time. Some thought that that's running afoul of the state constitution. Maybe more lawsuits there. The New York Times reported over the weekend that Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas is among those positioning for a potential run for president in 2020. Not too surprising, really. It's a congressional recess. He's not home visiting with people in Arkansas. He's been seen lunching in Beverly Hills. He's raising money in New York. He's been in several other states doing the kind of currying a favor you do when you're planning to run for an office in the future. He also stood up and said he didn't think much of other efforts in Congress to tie the hands of Donald Trump in doing stupid things. He thinks that the executive power is great, and he's not ready to cross Trump just yet, but he's certainly ready to run if the opening presents itself. Interesting poll analysis out of the Washington Post. It did some analysis of poll results, applied some statistical parameters to it, and found that all 50 states and the District of Columbia are overwhelmingly in favor of allowing transgender people to serve in the U.S. military. Yes, even Arkansas, 60% said they agreed that they should be allowed to serve openly in the military, which was kind of a happy note given the way the political conventional wisdom runs in Arkansas about things having to do with LGBT people. Interestingly enough, an open transgender person who's an IRS agent in Little Rock sent along to me a letter that she'd sent to the director of the IRS, and the response she got from him, in which he said unilaterally and without hesitation that there'll be no discrimination in the IRS. Don't know if that means he'll stay employed by the Trump administration for long, but it was nice to see that. The murders continue in Arkansas. Two people were shot, one fatally last night on Howard Street in Little Rock. There was a robber, an alleged robber, shot to death by an employee of a pizza place in Blytheville, and untold other lesser gun crimes committed in the state in the last few hours. There was a piece of good news. The Little Rock police have made 2 arrests in the so far unexplained slaying of an Italian tourist in West Little Rock last week. They say it was during the course of a robbery. How he came into contact with these 2 people is not yet known. City politics. Candidate for Ward 2 city director emerged today. Ron Muse, a city activist who worked to protect his neighborhood south of Interstate 630 in the Great Tech Park battle, says he's going to run for Ward 2 city director against incumbent Ken Richardson, who says he will also be seeking re-election. Interesting little note in the Houston Nutt saga, the defamation lawsuit by the Arkansas native who was a coach at Ole Miss and has sued them, saying he said bad things about him. the word is leaked of what his settlement offer would be in the suit. Says he doesn't want any money. He wants to spend $500,000, however, by Ole Miss toward a commission on athletic integrity in the state of Mississippi. Is $500,000 enough for that? I don't know. It's not enough to hire a good offensive line coordinator, I don't think, in the SEC. And let's see, what else do we have? Oh, more shakeups on Governor Asa Hutchinson's staff. I'm led to believe perhaps 8 of his top staff members have now left at one time or another in his first 2.5 years in office. Some have gone on to lobbying jobs, some to other state agencies. Not much drama associated with it, but it's interesting how little is written about it, given how much is written about the revolving door at the White House. Don't know if it's the same or not, but the people are moving on to other walks of life from the governor's office. I think that's all I've got today. I'm Max Brantley. I'll be back tomorrow. Resist if you can.